large hopper was loading his trucks full of coal. Thomas was still being cheeky. "Careful," he warned. "Watch out with those silly trucks." Go on, go on, go on," muttered the truck. "And by the way," went on Thomas, "those buffers don't look very safe to me." The last load poured down. "Help! I'm choking!" cried Thomas. "Get me out!" Percy was worried, but he couldn't help laughing. Thomas's smart blue paint was covered in coal dust from smoke box to bunker. "Ha ha," chuckled Percy. "You don't look really useful now, Thomas. You look really disgraceful." "I'm not disgraceful," choked Thomas. "You did that on purpose. Get me out."
"Watch out for those trees, Harold," cried his pilot. "My net is too heavy," wailed Harold. "Harold is in trouble," Percy cried. "We must try to help him."
Thomas steamed as fast as he could along the line. But there was trouble ahead. Some faulty points sent his freight cars one way and Thomas onto the old pier rail. Whoa! The troublesome trucks were delighted.
"He's falling in the water."
Luckily, Thomas wasn't hurt, and the fish freight car stayed on the tracks.
But was too late to switch Percy to the runaway siding. Frantically trying to grip the rails, Percy slid into the yard. "Beep! Beep! Look out!" The brake van was in smithereens. Percy's driver and fireman had jumped clear, but Percy was stranded.
Next, he was pulling some heavy freight cars. Then there was trouble. Thomas was puffing too fast round the bend. He toppled off the track. His load crashed down the bank. "Oh no," cried Thomas. Luckily, no one was hurt.
But then, Edward had to stop at a junction. He didn't know which was the fastest track to take to the farm. Edward was in such a rush, he didn't ask the signalman. "Stop!" shouted the signalman. "That track is closed!" But it was too late. Edward rattled around the bend and straight into a barrier. Parcels flew everywhere. "I'll never deliver the parcels on time now," he moaned. Edward felt terrible. He saw Emily coming. He listened for her toot-toot. But Emily didn't toot at all. This made Gordon very cross. He was so cross that he didn't see the signal telling him to stop. And he didn't see the goods train ahead until it was too late. Luckily, no one was hurt. But Gordon came off the rails and he was covered in gooey red jelly. Oh! Thomas raced into the yard. Percy was coming the other way. Whoa! Thomas bumped straight into Percy and the bunting flew up into the air. Percy's freight cars came off the track and so did Thomas.
Then a yellow signal appeared ahead. His driver prepared to stop, but the home signal was down. "All clear, Henry. Away we go." They couldn't know the switches from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set at danger, but snow had forced it down. A freight train was waiting in the siding to let the flying kipper pass, and the driver and fireman were drinking cocoa in the caboose. "The kipper is due," said the conductor. Who cares, said the fireman. This is good cocoa. The driver got up. Come on, fireman, back to our engine. They got out just in time. Henry's driver and fireman had jumped clear before the crash, but Henry lay dazed and surprised.